Grace, thank you so much for joining me today. Obviously we touched upon it a little bit earlier, but I'm so inspired by you and all you do.
You.
Obviously see you at Goodwood and at the Isle of Man and things, so you're a real inspiration to the next generation of broadcasters in the motorsport space.
Thank you very much.
Joined by your MCL, how are you? How has the event gone for you so far?
Yeah, really good, thank you. So my home for the event is the Expert Lab, so that means that I get to speak to an array of literally incredible guests from the world of two wheels. So we've had representatives from the biggest manufacturers, we've had superbike riders, we've had product designers and everything in between. So it keeps me on my toes, but it's also so fascinating to get to speak to people that you wouldn't do normally, and you hear stories and insights that you don't hear it anywhere else. So I love my job here at MCL, getting to do that and just chatting to people and like yourself for a living. So yeah, it's been a really good event, thank you.
Have you had a favourite person you've spoken to so far, or is there someone coming up that you're really excited to speak to?
I guess one of my favourite conversations that I've had so far has been with, we had a few people on the stage from Dainese that were talking about their new smart air vest technology, and then we also had Bradley Ray and Leon Haslam on to put it on and test it out and talk about the technology that's behind all of that and how rapidly it inflates and the safety aspects to it and the materials that are used. Like that was really interesting, and you know, the lads made it funny as well. It was Leon that wore it, and I think Brad took great pleasure in pressing the button to set it off. But yeah, so that was a good fun. And then coming up, who have we got coming up? We've got someone from Honda actually that are going to be talking about their new e-clutch technology, which is stuff like that I find fascinating, because you just see this sort of little sticker on a bike, but the work and development and what goes on under the fairings is going to be really insightful to pick their brains about it, because this whole, you know, clutchless systems that we're seeing a lot more often on manufacturers get a lot of hearsay, so it's great to hear it from the horse's mouth as such. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Oh, it sounds like you've got a really exciting rest of the event coming up then, obviously.
Yeah.
There's 5 or so days left, coming up to the halfway point.
Yeah.
But this is your second year hosting the Expert Lab?
Yeah.
But your CV is huge. But if we just take it back to maybe where it began, start right at the beginning.
Yeah.
People might not know this, but I did my research.
Okay.
And your granddad is Tom Wheatcroft, who was the founder of Donington Park Circuit.
Yeah.
Did he have any influence in you getting into motorsport? Because that is like such a direct link, and I've had no one else be the grandchild of a founder of a race circuit. So was he special to you growing up? Yeah,
massively. You know, but this comes up quite a lot in my career that Tom Wheatcroft is my grandfather, but he's grandpa to me. So you know, Christmases, you know, we'd spend granny and grandpa's, and but aside from, you know, family events, we'd also go as a family to Donington to watch the racing. So Donington Park was where I saw my first World Superbike race and MotoGP race, and that's definitely had an influence, you know, being inspired by the riders and the events that went on there and the feeling that you got from simply watching a race. So I guess I was given access to that via my family. So it had a massive impact. But aside from that, I guess, you know, that's on my mum's side of the family. My dad raced saloon cars. He's an engineer. So, you know, from my dad's side of the family, you know, I'm also, growing up, was surrounded by engines and spanners and tools and noises and stuff. So, and just simply growing up in the countryside, we were allowed to make a lot of noise and make a lot of mess as well. So yeah, I guess all of those things sort of influenced it. And it was my brothers actually that started racing at club level, like from mini motos to metro kits to bigger bikes as well, and I'd go along as number one cheerleader, as sister, and I'd always watch the racing, but I liked getting involved myself, whether it be changing the wheels or doing the pit board, or just generally getting involved in garage life. And that was kind of where my first presenting opportunity came around, because the organisers of that club were looking to televise the championship, and they were looking for someone to interview a few riders and sort of open the show, and they knew that I'd been around for a while and was obviously following the racing, following the championships, and they said, do you fancy just going around with a microphone speaking to a few people? And I was like, yeah. I mean, at the time I was a student, albeit my degree is in primary education, so completely different to this kind of job with a microphone. But I was a student at the time, and a bit of cash in my back pocket was like, this is great, because I was so used to speaking to people. It was just that this time it was with a microphone. So that was kind of my first step into this world, which, like I say, what kind of wasn't planned, because I went down the teaching route, and I don't regret that at all. That was kind of inspired by my sister, because she worked in childcare. But I suppose my big break came when those two things married up. So a producer from the BBC saw a clip of me interviewing a rider and said that they were looking for a presenter who was, knowledgeable in the area of motorsport, but also that it was a programme aimed at children. So I was like, working as a teacher at the time, and my hobby was, I rode myself, albeit on the road, and I'd go and watch the racing. It kind of all came together. So I presented that show that was backed by the BBC, which then was a big platform, and it sort of snowballed from there, really, and now I'm at MCL. So yeah, that's kind of a bit of a tour as to how I got here today.
It's really underselling it, because you've done so much. Obviously that has then progressed into, like I said, Isle of Man, going there. You even did your first broadcast with TNT at the final round of BSB.
Yeah.
So it's come a long way since you're doing Thundersport with your brothers. But obviously those few things helped kickstart my career, and I really love this space of motorsport and engineering, and working with some of the best manufacturers in the world. Like, I really like this community, and I can see myself staying here for a while, because I'm a rider myself. I love it, and getting to do, like I say, this job of just chatting to people about a passion of mine. I feel so lucky to be in this space. No, I agree with you. I think one of the things about BSB in particular, because I'm like BSB fanatic, it's my favourite thing in the whole wide world. Something that's so special about it is that community feel to it.
Yeah.
Like, even as a spectator, you just get that real sense of like a family almost. We're all family. We have our differences with riders and teams that we prefer, but it's not just one big family.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you said, then you do ride bikes yourself. Was there ever a part of you that wanted to ride? Obviously, you kind of fell into it presenting wise because of being with Thundersport and them just saying, let's go and interview some people. But was there any other side of you that didn't want to go into teaching and wish you had a little stint on two wheels, or was that never really something you thought about at the time?
Yeah, I guess no, not really, because it was my older sister that sort of inspired me to get into education, and my brothers were always the racers. I was the road rider. I was sort of the first one out of my siblings to get my license to ride on the road. So I never competed, but I still got my fix of riding at the weekends on the road, then going to be a teacher during the weekday. So I don't regret my path whatsoever. That was always the plan, to go into teaching, and like I say, inspired by my sister, that I wanted to have an impact on kids. And when the opportunity of the BBC show came around, I thought, well, this is an opportunity to impact hundreds of thousands of kids that watch this platform, and it was an honour to be a part of, really. And still on BBC iPlayer now that you can catch it. So yeah, I love that it's still about, and you know, even here at MCL, it's so lovely that kids will come up and recognise me from the BBC work that I've done, but then there's a few older members of the family that'll recognise me from the TT coverage. So I love that both members of the family may have seen me in this environment, albeit in different places, but share the same love. So yeah, I really like that.
What you said about having an impact, but even if it's not, well, Grace's Amazing Machines is still widely popular. My dad still talks about it all the time at home. Aww. I'm not sure which one of us watched it, because my sister's 17, so I'm not sure if she was like she might have been a bit too old for it at the time. So I don't know where he's got that from. Maybe it was one of our cousins. But even presenting, you still have an impact, and that's the one thing I like about when I get the chance to sit like with yourself or with the riders. Is the chance to educate people. And I never when I was younger I wanted to be a teacher, but it was never like you in my career path. And then you did actually go on to be a head teacher for a period of time as well. Yeah. Well,
I was assistant head at a school for nearly 2 years, before moving into this role. So that was a really proud achievement of mine. After 4 years of being a class teacher, to then move up to assistant head was a big deal for me. So but I liked that role in that I could still teach and be with the kids, but also had a hand in helping teachers improve their practice as well. So I enjoyed that. But I did do that as well.
You've just done so much, Grace. All I gathered from the research about you. What do you think, or if any, were the skills you were able to transfer from being a teacher into now live broadcasting? Because surely there's some crossover in some way.
Yeah. Do you know what? I get asked that quite a bit about, did you go to presenter school? And I was like, no, is there a presenter school? Like maybe I should sign up. But essentially, like teaching my class of 30 kids, you're a presenter essentially in front of those kids, because whatever it is that is the topic of that lesson, you're excited about it, you're enthusiastic about it, you've got to make the concept come alive and think about how those ideas can be engaging, which essentially you kind of do with presenting. So I think in that respect, I picked up a lot of traits that have done me well in teaching and applied those to what I do now, because I do think that in what I do as a presenter or even in journalism, like I don't profess to know everything about the topic, but what I think is important is to be passionate. And being passionate doesn't mean you know everything about your topic. It means you're willing to learn everything about that topic. And that's kind of, what I've been doing on the Expert Lab. I'm willing to learn. I'm asking questions. I'm being curious. And, I think that's what's engaging. Anyway, in answer to your question, I think a lot of my teaching of lessons to young kids has sort of helped transfer into this today. So
I'm really taken aback by your answer with the being passionate. You don't have to know everything. That's something I'm going to take with me, because it's impossible to get the 30 years, well, next year it will be 30, of BSB into my brain. I'll try. But thank you for that, because that's
it's a saying that's stood with me for a while, that being passionate doesn't mean you know everything, but it means you're willing to learn everything, and that's I think you're accepted then if you're passionate, because you're showing an interest.
Oh, good, teary-eyed actually. A podcast, I looked at your website, and a podcast in 2019 compared you to Guy Martin. I think they said you're a female Guy Martin.
Oh yeah, was that Front End Chatter?
Yes. Yeah, it was.
Love that podcast.
Yeah. And like him, I guess you do focus on that technical aspect of it. He's done so much as well.
Yeah.
How do you navigate? I guess it's a bit different for children's TV, because you do explain it in a different way to, it's so different for different audiences, isn't it? But how do you navigate explaining sometimes really complex engineering structures to an audience that might not have the technical background of of the research you would have spent hours doing?
I think that podcast as well called it Grace's Amazing Machines was like Top Gear on Sunny Delight. I loved Sunny Delight when I was a kid. It's probably why that line has stuck with me. But yeah, thinking about your question there, like explaining concepts to a lot younger audience, I think having a teaching background has certainly helped, because my knowledge of the national curriculum has helped me sort of filter concepts into objectives that children of that age would be learning, and as well, those objectives are then split into development stages if a child is working at an expected level or above and below. So you've kind of got to we're creating a show that's aimed at a broad range, but I think I can't take credit for all of it, because I work with an incredible team of producers that help work on the whole production of the show. So that has helped get the concepts across as well. So there's a few elements that have helped us, I think, hit the nail on the head to engage the whole family. That's something that I really love about the show, is that families will watch it together, whether it be mum, dad, aunties, uncles, to little brothers and sisters. It's something that they'll sit down and watch together and talk about, and that's what we want from the show, for it to be a stimulus. And it's been so heartwarming that off the back of the show, I quite often get messages from parents saying that, my daughter's now been brave enough to try on a helmet because she's seen you do it, because all these big, noisy, loud machines can be a bit intimidating sometimes. So for it to be shown in a friendly and approachable way is really helped. So it's been lovely to see that it's watched by families and then supported and followed up with families. And parents will say, we then went to the digger world off the back of your show, and they sat in it, and now they're using words like aerodynamic because they learnt it on your show, and stuff like that. Like, their language is really improved, and the show is a stimulus and a starting point and an inspiration base as well. So if it's meant that a child has watched it and then gone on to do something else off the back of that, then that's amazing. And the messages I've had like that have been so amazing to receive.
No, it must be really special to have those kind of things.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
such a wide range of people, obviously inspiring the next generation of potential engineers with Grace's Amazing Machines. But like, for me, wanting to go into presenting, I've only ever seen you broadcast. So in that respect, you're inspiring, especially women in racing, because we still need more of them. We're getting there. We still need more of them, though. I love it. But speaking about that new emerging talent, then, obviously you were back in 2012 doing Thundersport, I think. So literally at the start of your career. Yeah. You might have not known it at the time, but it was.
Yeah.
What, or how, I guess, that opportunity came about because you knew the organisers from Thundersport and they were looking for someone. How important do you think it is to give those sorts of opportunities to emerging talent that are like trying to get a break in the industry, because that is such a good way in, and it's a safe space to kind of nurture those fine skills you need to go on to be on TNT, for example, or host the Isle of Man broadcast team. So how important do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I say, it wasn't originally the path that I set out to do. I was maybe in the right place at the right time, but I was willing to give it a go, and happy to speak to people. I think obviously to be a presenter, you have to be a people person and happy to chat. But something that I'd definitely recommend for people to do to help get into the industry. Obviously, social media is such a big platform and a way of tailoring your own content to the direction that you want to take it in. So places like MCL, different brands I've found are so willing to work with people to create content that, yes, those opportunities are important to come to us, but I think it's also important to make your own opportunities. So don't wait for people to come to you. I'm quite often, on my laptop sending emails and, trying to create new opportunities. I've seen something and think, do you know what would be really good? We could do this idea. And even if they go, oh, no, not now. Yeah, never mind. Maybe another time. Or, not every idea comes to fruition. But, I think it's about creating the opportunities in the space that you want. I think that's really important.
Lovely. I'll take that advice with me. I'll be sending about 100 emails when I get home. So thanks, Grace. Everyone's going to hate me now. Get an email from me. I've got one final question, because I appreciate I've taken up a lot of your time, which I do really appreciate.
Go for it.
So looking forward then, you've just about finished your 13th year doing motorsport related things, which is really exciting, and you're still so young and inspiring so many people. But if you could give one piece of advice to Grace, maybe not when she was going into teaching, but first doing broadcasting or TV as a job, when you first realised that you can do it, what advice would you give to her now, as someone who's now very well established?
I think my best piece of advice, looking back, is to not get so hung up on my mistakes. So if I fluffed my lines or dropped something, or we're all human at the end of the day, and sometimes it felt like, again, coming into a BBC production, I was working with a lot of experienced people, and I was the newbie, and I was feeling myself, so nervous, and I'd mess things up, and I'd think, they're getting annoyed at me, and they weren't getting annoyed at me because they know how it is. So I was probably getting more annoyed at myself, and then that was making it worse. So I think the best advice is to just keep going, and fails that you have are just a tiny blip. Like, keep going, and you usually have the support of a really good team. I've touched on it a minute ago that I can't take all the credit for it. Being a presenter is just one cog in the world of production. I think it'd be, don't get so hung up on your mistakes. Appreciate the team that's around you, because you can't do it without them. And like we just said, create opportunities for yourself. Just give it a go, even if it gets pushed back. Try again. We've all been in that position where the first idea isn't the one that gets taken, but it might spark something else, and to just give it a go. So I'd give that as the advice, I think.
Thank you very much. Well, Grace, it's been my pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time today, and have a great rest of your time at MCL.